Hi, I'm Samantha Van Horn, marriage and family therapist intern with Family Concern Counseling. I'm here to talk today about motivational interviewing techniques. Essentially, it's just a way to help a teenager that you're working with, an adult, a mentee, somebody important in your life, to learn how they can come up with their own reasons for change and for motivating themselves through sometimes very difficult decisions, sometimes very easy decisions, but just helping them make that for themselves. So the first thing that we want to remember in motivational interviewing is that there are lots of different stages to change. So let's take the example, a common example of trying to get fit. People will start out in pre-contemplation. In pre-contemplation, people aren't necessarily aware of the problem, but maybe they're kind of thinking about it, especially with the holidays coming up. People might be thinking about, how many treats am I going to eat? And will this really help me get fit in the summertime when I want to be ready for showing off my legs or bikini weather, whatever. So pre-contemplation is that they're not really aware that the problem exists. Contemplation is when people begin to become aware that there may be an issue or that they need to address somehow getting fit. They haven't done anything yet, but they're just thinking about it. Preparation. Preparation is maybe calling into a gym, getting some yoga clothes, a variety of other things that people will do to prepare for the next stage, which is action. This is where they're actually starting the change. To start the change, they may go to a few yoga classes or go to the gym, maybe commit to a friend to working out or going on a run. This is when the behavior is beginning to change, but it's only just started. After a while, a person will move into what we call maintenance stage. And that's where they're simply maintaining the behavior of going to the gym maybe twice a week or going to yoga class a few times. And they've been doing so for a while, and it's become a part of their daily routine. Now, we all know that when those holiday treats call your name, it can be really hard to refuse. And maybe you give in a couple times. Maybe you skip going to the gym that week. Maybe you fall back for a couple weeks. This is what we call relapse. Relapse can be a very important part of the change process and a good stage to go through. There's a lot that we can learn from the relapse stage. We can learn maybe what got us into relapse, how we can benefit knowing what got us in or what sort of boundaries we need to set in place so that we don't go back into our relapse stage. It's a very important learning part of the process and not one that should be met with condemnation, guilt, or shame. We all go through it and we all need to learn lessons. This continues on a spiral upward. And so once we figure out that, maybe I shouldn't have given into those treats, or maybe I really need to set aside a time to go back to yoga, we can move very quickly back into preparation and to the action stage. So those are things that are really important to know before first going into motivational interviewing. Again, this is just a way for somebody to come up with their own reasons for change. So first, we want to identify the stage that they're in, one of the stages previously. So get them to talk about, have you thought about going to a gym? Have you thought about looking for workout clothes? Have you maybe committed with a partner to go run? You want to identify just where they're at and start to elicit that change talk. Wow, so what would it be like if you did maybe get healthier? What benefits could come from that? What could be the potential challenges? Those would be things that you want to discuss during this time. You want to talk about the great things that change may bring, but we want to be realistic in the same way in talking about the challenges that could happen as a result. So what could possibly get in the way of change happening? What would make it really difficult? It may be harder to leave work 10 minutes early to make sure that you can get to your classes on time, to make sure that you can change in order to go running with a friend. But talking about those things beforehand can help achieve success later and ensure that for the people that we're working with. We want to do our best to gently point out inconsistencies. And I say that with a lot of grace because we don't want people to go into a cycle of shame or judgment. But hey, friend, I hear that you are trying to get healthy and fit, but yet you've missed out on our last 3 appointments for running. So, I'm just kind of concerned. How does this match up with that goal? There we're pointing out an inconsistency that we see in our friend when they've told us that they're committed to a change, but yet they haven't held up to their end of the bargain. Again, without any shame or judgment, but purely getting them to think about it. The power of this is that they begin to become very motivated for their own change, not because of you, and not because we are shaming them into that cycle or guilting them into that cycle, but then they are motivated to do it for themselves because they realize that it's better for themselves. This can be an incredibly empowering process, especially for teenagers as they're still trying to develop the parts of their brain that can see into the future and plan for that. You're really helping them become more equipped in order to handle those changes later on in their life and prepare them for success in the future. After you've just talked about the pitfalls and the potential benefits of change when we're talking about these extremes, we want to make sure that we're also talking about that person's readiness for change. Sometimes people jump into change very quickly without really realizing if they're truly ready for it or not. So somebody could try to move through that preparation stage very fast into action stage and maybe sign up for a gym class or go to a yoga class and then realize that they may not have all of the proper workout equipment, or maybe they don't have the right clothes. And so it can be really, really important to talk through this readiness with the person that you're trying to help. So after you're done talking about the potential extremes, like the pitfalls or the successes that you could have with change, it's really, really important to start talking about the readiness for change. Sometimes people can be very motivated in some ways to get through that preparation stage, maybe a little bit too fast and try and jump to action without realizing just what it's going to take. So somebody may make a commitment to go to a yoga class without having all the right clothes. Maybe they sign up for a gym and realize there are holes in their shoes. We want to make sure that that person is ready for all of the potential things that could come as a result of the change. After we ask for permission to talk about this behavior with them and the change that they want, you've talked about the extremes, the good things that can happen, and maybe the worst things that can happen, their readiness for change. You've talked about what stages they're in, and you've talked about maybe some inconsistencies that you've seen in their process. You can truly help them change for the better and maybe make a long-lasting change that will ensure their success later in life. Thank you so much for your time. Again, I'm Samantha Van Horn with Family Concern Counseling, and I am a marriage and family therapist intern. If you would like to know more about any of these trainings, please feel free to contact us anytime as you see this information below. Thank you.